So I wanted to talk to you guys today about the two different palettes. The KVD, what the fuck is this called? Planet Fanatic Fully Recyclable Wet and Dry Eyeshadow Palette, Exhibit A. And the, what it is, I don't know all the names. Curator Eyeshadow. Wait, this one's $160. Is that how much this is? Damn. Curated Hourglass 5-pan palette. I think this is the biggest one that you can get. I'm a little confused about how they're selling this, but we'll get into that. This is a very expensive palette. Both of these palettes, almost dropped it, claim to be, I think, fully recyclable. So I wanted to talk about them because I think it's interesting. So I wanted to talk about the differences. So number one, the price. The curated palette from Hourglass, it comes with, they have like a bunch of different singles. They did send this, actually both of these were sent to me, so I didn't pay for either of them. Can't open it now. So it comes with it's got a mirror and it's refillable. These little guys pop in and out. So they sell singles. Oh, I actually haven't tried to like remove it. It was kind of a bitch to get in. Oh, okay, it flew out. But yeah, so you can, basically the palette itself, like the pan palette, is meant to be reusable. And it's also made from blah, 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 don't care. Dude, tell me the deets. Give me the deets. Crafted from tin and post-consumer recycled plastic. Okay? The tins that the single eyeshadows come in are also made from that same tin, I guess, which is fully recyclable. This palette retails for $161. Okay. It's a little confusing about how they're selling this on their website, because they sent me a bunch of singles, not all of them, but a bunch, and then they sent me one of these palettes so that I could like customize my own, right? On the website, they have a pan of 5, 3, and then the singles, I believe. So you can buy the Curator refillable palette for $10 to $16. Yeah, so wait, I'm confused. Why is the 5-pan $10 to $16? What? That is so, oh, okay. So the 5-pan, like this thing, the outer thing, sells for $16. You can buy this and then reuse it over and over and over again. They are also selling curated palettes. So they have a curated by Hourglass palette, curated by James Malloy palette. I don't know who that is. Curated by Georgia May Jagger. 3-pan palettes. So the full 5 palette, if you decide to buy it with eyeshadows sold in it, is $161. The 3-pan is $99 if you decide to buy it with eyeshadows in it. So, and then the refills, like the single shadows themselves, sell for $30. Well, it's $29, but you know what I mean. Expensive. KVD, recyclable, planet-friendly palette is $45. Big difference. Actually, what's funny is that the tones are, well, I don't know if I would say that they're necessarily similar, but kind of. I mean, these are the shadows that I chose to put in my Hourglass one, and this is what we've got with KVD, so it's very like earthy, you know? Makes sense. This palette was inspired by one of their other palettes that was recyclable, but it had to be like disassembled. So the reason for this is that it's completely, like, you don't have to disassemble at all. You just make sure that it is cleaned out of eyeshadow and it's fully recyclable. However, it is plastic. So I was looking this up because I was like, what's the difference, or like what's the benefit, I guess, to tin or aluminum? Recycling plastic is more complex, leads to degradation, and has lower reuse rates than aluminum. So the metal has been heralded as a greener alternative. Cans have an average of 68% recycled content compared to just 3% for plastic in the United States. Environmental Protection Agency data shows. So metal can almost always be recycled and is more commonly recycled than plastics. So the production of these products obviously is a whole other, I mean, that's just like a lot to get into. So right now I'm just talking about like the differences between recycling them, like how easy they are to recycle and also like how much you can recycle them. So essentially aluminum is like, I was gonna say infinitely recyclable. It's not infinite, but compared to plastic, it's better. So, which is why I was like a little bit interested in the Hourglass palette. Something that I did note when I was like opening all this shit up is that the Hourglass single shadows come in plastic, obviously. I'm trying to see it, and I don't see any like recycling symbols on the containers. Yeah, they're so hard to get out of here. Oh, there is one. There is one. So these are plastic that the singles come in, but they are recyclable. And then something that I just thought was kind of strange is that the box that the palette came in, and then also the box that the singles come in, is not recyclable at all, I don't think. It's got this like fancy shiny coating. So this, I think, just gets thrown away, which seems like, I don't know, like if you're gonna do it, like go all in, right? So anyway, obviously the price difference is astronomical. I mean, it's like insane. What did I say? $45 versus like 100 and for far more eyeshadows. But I was interested in this idea of like makeup companies moving more towards like trying to reduce waste and promote things like recycling. Because especially as an influencer, I see, you have no idea the amount of like ridiculous PR boxes that I receive where it's just like this gigantic box and all this filigree and there's a lip gloss inside. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why? It's ridiculous. So I was interested in just kind of like exploring these and also mostly getting your opinions on this kind of thing because I'm not at all an expert. And then also just kind of like trying them out and comparing the two. So obviously I think, I mean, first off, before we even like get into testing the eyeshadows, I think that the Hourglass palette is unbelievably overpriced, and I'd have to look into this. I do know that making like environmental friendly packaging is like incredibly expensive for companies. Like I think, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong, I think I heard Samantha Ravindal talking about how, I think it was it recycling or like biodegradable or something, like she was trying to look into like packaging that was going to be create less waste. And she said that it was like astronomical, the prices, like it was just so much more expensive. So obviously it's like very difficult for companies to justify, I guess, but I think more and more consumer pressure to move towards something like that, they'll have to adapt, just like they did with shade ranges for all skin tones. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. That was such a rant. Let's try out the eyeshadows. I do have peeling on my eyelids, so let's just all keep that in mind. All right, so I'm gonna prime my lids with the NARS primer, which like might have been a mistake because it is kind of drying and I have all this peeling skin. Cute. Basically, if you start tretinoin, just like use the tiniest amounts. Just like try to fight your habit of being like, more is better. Because that is my problem. I cannot, no matter what, I can't learn that lesson. Also, just quickly, I don't put it near my eyes, but it does travel, and this is the result. Okay, so I'm interested in starting off with the Hourglass palette because there were just like, I don't know, fewer shades in general, but I was like very interested in them. I feel like I actually don't even remember the last time I used an Hourglass eyeshadow palette, but this shade in particular just really spoke to me. Like, it's just really stunning. Well, I haven't even touched these yet. It does feel nice. It actually looks like Oryx. Ooh, what's the name of that one? I can't remember the name of it, and it's all the way over there, but it reminds me of that. Her cream, you know, because it's kind of like warm gunmetal gray. But I also, because there's a similar shade in this palette, like this, like green. So yeah, I think that's we're kind of gonna go through like the earthy colors. So let's start off with that then, fuck. So I think I'm gonna start off by using my Sigma Medium Sweeper. This is the E54 brush, and I'm gonna dip into this silvery, warm silver color, I don't know. I'm gonna start by like working this onto the lid. I'm gonna try playing with my fingers to see like how different the application is. Always best with your finger, it just is. It's very pretty. I'm gonna use that Sigma brush and I'm picking up that green. And I'm gonna blend that up over the top of that gray. I have no direction, by the way. Yeah, I mean, that's really pretty. I mean, the finishes are beautiful, you know? Let's go on to the other side. I'm gonna go in with ooh, this color. Isn't that nice? Because I also haven't used a kit. Ooh. That's really creamy. See, all I remember, honestly, is the KVD, the single shadows, you know? Fuck. That feels really creamy. I'm into that. Damn, bro. I mean, the formulas feel slightly different. Like, for instance, I hope that looks as impressive as it does on my lid. The KVD eyeshadow definitely contains more oil, which is why it's looking much more like foiled, more brilliant. I'm seeing so much more like reflect, because when I touch it, I can feel that like, I was gonna say moistness, that's like not cute, but like water content or oil content, I guess, moisture content. Whereas the Hourglass shadows are a little bit more, they're not dry, but they feel a little bit less moist than the KVD ones. So they still have like a really pretty sheen, but they're softer, obviously. Like this one, I don't know if you can really like see the difference, but this one looks like just more foiled. So I'm bringing that up to the crease, just kind of like tapping. I'm gonna try, we're obviously doing two completely different palettes and they don't have the exact same colors, so I'm gonna try to at least make it look like it should work together. So then I'm gonna grab the matte shade. I really like this blue, seems nice. So I'm gonna try that. And I'm using my Morphe M521 brush, just a big blender, lots of kickback. I'm gonna do kind of the same thing that I did over here where I'm just like patting and blending the color. That's a nice matte. All right, I'm grabbing another blending brush. This is the Morphe M524, just clean. And I'm gonna blend around those shimmers from the Hourglass palette. I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that green on that fluffy brush. Pack it in the crease. I'm gonna wipe off my brush, blend that out a bit. I think I'm liking this one way better, just in terms of the look. Okay, for my waterline, I'm just going in with Jade Olive from Maybelline eyeliner. Sorry, my mirror is too far away. Ooh, maybe I should switch it up for the lower lash line. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna switch it up for the lower lash line, just to fuck with everybody. So for the Hourglass palette, I'm gonna use this blue because I really like it. It's just like a dark, like teal blue. It's cool. And I'm gonna grab that on, I don't know, a little blending brush. I'm gonna use my little Wayne Goss brush. This is the number 20 brush. And I'm gonna pick up that blue. I just showed it to you. Yeah, and I'm placing this on the lower lash line of the eye where I did KVD because I'm gonna switch them up because I like to be confusing. The Hourglass eyeshadows seem to be a little more like powdery, you know? Like they're nice, they're very soft, they're not like super pigmented. If you go in with a brush, it's going to be just less payoff overall, you know? So like if I was packing this on with my finger, I would probably get like a lot more payoff in general. It's still really pretty, like you get a nice amount of shimmer. You know how everybody is obsessed with the reverse cat eye? I might as well just like do a little bit of that, sort of. I'm gonna use the BH Cosmetics smoke brush and I'm gonna pick up that blue, and then what I'm gonna do is just kind of follow my lower lash line to create a wing. And then for the other side, I'm gonna go into the KVD palette. I'm gonna use this guy. Oh, I stabbed it. Which is so pretty. Oh, I really like it. So I'm gonna use that color. And I'm using the BH Cosmetics smudge brush? Or smudge brush. Yeah, dude, these have so much more oil in them, it's crazy. All right, so I'm gonna focus this on the lower lash line. The payoff of this palette is just like wild. I'm pretty impressed. And then I'm gonna grab the blue shade from the Kat Von D palette on a little blending brush and run that underneath. Okay. And since I don't really have a competing shade in the Hourglass palette, I'm just gonna pick up this like khaki, matte khaki color on that same brush and run that underneath the blue over here. Okay, my camera cut out, and I'm not entirely sure what was caught on camera. So just in case, I was, all I did was intensify the like lower wing a little bit with some black liner. And then I went into my inner corner with, from the KVD palette, I used this shade right here. Basically, if I can, in closing. Well, this is the finished eyeshadow look, by the way. Kind of grunge, you know? Okay, so just in closing, if I'm comparing these two palettes, the KVD palette is, or the eyeshadows, I guess, the KVD eyeshadows are much heavier. They have much more moisture in them and a lot more payoff. So if I'm just swatching, let's choose some colors that I didn't use. They feel so creamy, but like thick, you know? So here's a matte, ooh. Didn't go on as, thick as I was expecting it to. When you touch it, it almost feels like a cream. It's kind of like, but they're like pretty blendable too, you know, like they don't necessarily go on to, I mean, that's a matte. They almost feel like the ColourPop shadows, like the Super Shock shadows, like they kind of have that feel, are similar, I guess, with the shimmers. They just have a lot of oil in them. So there's much more just like pigment payoff overall. So that's the KVD palette. And then the Hourglass shadow. So here's one of the matte shades. It feels just tightly packed comparatively. Here's a matte shadow from Hourglass. It feels like more airy, if that makes sense. I don't know if you can like really see that in the swatch. I don't know if there's like much of a difference there. It does look potentially more soft. Going over my skin. Like I feel like the KVD one, you can see more of the like pores on my hand. This is like very soft. Yeah. The shimmers are just like much more tightly packed. They do not have as much moisture in them, which is why they look much better when you're like packing them on with your finger, because you really need to like pack it on to see the shimmer. So they just don't contain as, I mean, that comparison is pretty crazy, right? Between the shimmers. So the nice thing about the Hourglass palette is that the shadows are a little bit softer. They're not gonna sit as heavy on your skin. So they might be a little bit more ideal for mature skin in general. And in all honesty, someone who's 16 versus someone who's 60, probably the 60-year-old is gonna be a little bit more willing to spend $160 on a palette. I still think it's outrageously priced, just considering like what you get for 5 eyeshadows. So I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but these little things, those are the things that are made out of tin, as well as like the outside of this palette. So those are fully recyclable. So you just make sure that they're clean and then you can toss them in the recycling. It just still seems like ridiculously overpriced, whether it's recyclable or not. I appreciate the effort to moving to something like tin rather than plastic. But it's also, you know, it contains plastic. The things it comes in are plastic. So I don't know. It's not like, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I want to hear your thoughts. The KVD palette, I actually really like it a lot. Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. No, that's actually like really cool. So I actually really liked that color, and now I can't use it anymore. So that's really cool. Looks like I'm gonna be recycling this a lot sooner than I thought. They're really soft pressed. You have to be so fucking careful. This landed on a carpet. Yeah, so I don't really know what to say. I don't really know how to like wrap up after that. I need to clean up that mess now. I do really like the shadows. There's a way more payoff. They definitely remind me of like the classic KVD like single shadows that were in like the little like the flip up container or whatever. I don't know if I'm describing that. I'm trying to put the thing back on. Jesus. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't wear pink that often, so that one doesn't really matter, but I did kind of like that matte shade. But yeah, I would highly recommend this if you are looking for payoff, if you like these tones, and you know, it is fully recyclable once you finish all of the stuff and you don't have to like disassemble it, which is nice. And it's a lot more reasonably priced and you get more eyeshadows and more of the eyeshadows. Man, that's depressing. Why am I always dropping things? Yeah, so final thoughts. I don't think that $160 is reasonable for that. What is the Pat McGrath? What do those go for? 125 or something? So I have defended these in the past because, yeah, so 125. The Mothership palettes, because not only are, like, the eyeshadows are beautiful. All the formulas are beautiful. The palette itself is a work of art, from the outside box to the actual thing that it's in, to the beveled mirror, to the logo embossed, the relief. Like, it absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. Like, if I were just not who I am and had all of the Pat McGrath palettes from working with them, I would buy one of those and just not use it and have it on display because it's absolutely stunning, and that's 125. So while I appreciate the move towards this like palette that's meant to be refillable and recycling tin and all of that, I just think $160 is so unreasonable. Like, I get that Hourglass is trying to be like, we're doing good things, but we're also like luxury, and I just don't, like, it just doesn't seem reasonable to me. And honestly, I mean, I liked these two shades, but I just don't really see myself like grabbing any of these, really, you know? So I can't really recommend it. Yeah, can't really recommend it. So anyway, interested in your thoughts. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. I know there was a lot of talk about this Hourglass palette, and most people were talking about how expensive it was, and you know, for good reason. But I didn't really hear that much buzz about the KVD palette, so I would be interested in hearing your thoughts about that as well. I guess that's it. Let me know if you want to see a dedicated tutorial to the reverse cat eye thing. I don't know why it's like trend. I don't know. Never mind. I don't want to. I just don't really understand how things become viral when they've been around for like a while, you know? All right, I'm gonna go now. I can finally close all these tabs on recycling. Bye.